Hello and welcome back. This is Saxon Math, Course 1, Lesson 8 on perimeter. Perimeter is the distance around a shape. All you have to do is add up all the sides to the shape to find the perimeter. So here's an example. If you're going to add up all the sides to this rectangle, you would start in one location, let's say this corner right here, and you just move around. There's 3 centimeters. Here's 2 centimeters. Here's 3 more centimeters. How do I know that? Because it's the same distance as the other side. So this is 3 centimeters. And I know this one is 2 centimeters because of this 2 centimeters. So if all I did was move from one corner all the way around the perimeter of this rectangle, I would get myself back to this point again, and I would have traveled 10 total centimeters. Here's 3 centimeters plus 2 centimeters makes 5 centimeters plus 3 more centimeters makes 8 centimeters plus 2 more centimeters makes 10 total centimeters. That's the perimeter going from one point. It could have been from this point all the way back around to that point again. Whatever the origin is, whatever you begin with, it has to end at that position again if you're considering the perimeter of an object. The 4 sides of a square are all equal in length, so this is a special one where you can see clearly that in this case, each one of these sides represents 2 centimeters. So this is 2 centimeters. On a square, you hopefully remember that a square means all the sides are the same. This is 2 centimeters. This one's 2 centimeters. And this side is also 2 centimeters. So once you've got that down, you can see that it's 4-sided times 2. You could think of it that way. 4 sides times 2 centimeters equals 8 centimeters just to find the perimeter. So the formula of that is actually similar to this. You'd have 2 lengths and 2 widths, but if you're considering a square, for a square, the formula is the perimeter equals 4 times the side, the length of a side. So just like we did back here, we took 4 times the length of one side, being 2 centimeters, would be equal to 8 centimeters. It's also the same as side 1 plus side 2, side 3, side 4, but we know that in a square they're all the same size. In a rectangle, the formula for the area of or the perimeter of a rectangle, perimeter equals 2 lengths plus 2 widths. So you'd have one side being 3 centimeters times 2 in that case. So it'd be 2 times 3 centimeters plus 2 times, what do we have over here? 2 centimeters. So each one of those would then be represented. And then you'd have that all equaling the perimeter of that particular one. So whatever the length of each side is, you have the perimeter equaling 2 lengths plus 2 widths. If you're looking at triangles, which we will, looking at the perimeter, if you start at the top and you work your way around and back to the origin, it's just side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3. You end up with your perimeter, side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3. So let's look at this example. What is the perimeter of this rectangle? Well, in this case, you've got 4 there, so you could do the length is usually the longer part. So this would be 2 times 4 inches plus 2 times 2 inches is the width. So now I've got, in this case, 8 inches plus 4 inches. And now my final perimeter is going to be 12 inches. That would be the final answer of this. And if we check it, if we started at this point, for example, we traveled 2, 4 more would make 6, 2 more would make 8, 4 more would make 12. So it would be 12 exactly as we have there. What's the perimeter of this triangle? Remember, the area of a triangle is simply the perimeter equals side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3. So in this case, it doesn't really matter what side I start with. Let's say this is side 1. So if that's side 1, it's 20 millimeters plus, let's say this is side 2, 30 millimeters plus, let's say this one is side 3. That's also 30 millimeters in this example. So what's 20 plus 30 plus 30? Well, 30 plus 30 is 60, plus 20 makes 80. So this perimeter is going to be 80 millimeters. And that's just starting at any point and traveling back to the origin. So if this is the origin and I travel around it this direction and then I return back to the origin, that has been 80 millimeters on this example. How about this one? The perimeter of a square is 20 centimeters. What's the length of each side? So if the perimeter of a square equals 4 times s, and we don't know what the length of the side is, but we know what the perimeter is. So in this case, we know 20 centimeters is the answer to 4s. So that means I can take this and I would divide this side by 4 and divide this side by 4 because it's equal. So now I've got 1 times s. So that means this is s equals 20 divided by 4 is 5 centimeters. So that means the side of each one of these on the square should be 5 centimeters. I can double check it. If this was 5 centimeters, that means this has to be 5 centimeters, this has to be 5 centimeters, and this one has to be 5 centimeters as well. 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 5 more is 15, plus 5 more is 20. The perimeter is 20, so each one of those sides is 5 centimeters. Excellent. Let's look at some of the practice problems here for you. What's the perimeter of this shape? This one is a square and one side is 12 millimeters. All right, so what I need to do is take 12 times 4 because there's 4 sides to that. So that'd be 8, 48, and the label is millimeters. So the perimeter of this square is 48 millimeters. Now do letter B, this perimeter of this rectangle. All right, remember that the perimeter equals 2L plus 2W. So if I have 2 lengths, that's the same as 40 millimeters. Plus I know 2 widths is going to be the same as 30 millimeters because this is 15, this side's going to be 15. This side's 20, this side's 20. So 20 plus 20 is 40. 15 plus 15 makes 30. So I know that the perimeter of this particular shape is going to be 70 millimeters for the perimeter. How about on this trapezoid? We didn't go over formulas for trapezoids, but tell me what the answer is to the perimeter of this trapezoid. So all you have to do in this one is find the perimeter, and it equals, in this case, I guess it'd be side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3 plus side 4. There's 4 sides, and each one of them is represented there. So you could just say that's 10 plus 20 plus 10 plus 15, and they're all labeled millimeters. So that'd be 10, 30, 40 plus 15 makes 55 millimeters, if you answered that. So perimeter equals 55. Figures D and E below are regular polygons. That means they're very regular in that they all have the same sides as far as length, and they have the same angles. So they're regular polygons because all their sides are the same length and all their angles are the same size. Find the perimeter of each shape. So if one of these sides is 2, that means all of the sides are 2. Go ahead and answer letter D. The perimeter of that equilateral triangle should have been 6 centimeters. How do you know that? Because in the perimeter of a triangle, it's simply side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3. And in this case, it'd be 2, 4, 6. So 6 centimeters. On letter E, a pentagon, it's a 5-sided figure. Go ahead and answer that. As you can see, there's 1 centimeter for each side. So that means the perimeter of this one simply means 5 centimeters. And that's a distance around that shape. So if you start here and you travel this way, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5. What's the perimeter of a square? Well, sorry, the perimeter is 60 centimeters. So how long is each side of the square? So if you've got a square, so let's just write F down here. You have a square, and to get around that square, it's 60 centimeters. So 60 centimeters equals the perimeter. It's 4 times S equals that, because there's 4 sides. So I'm going to divide this by 4. And I'm going to divide this side by 4. So now I have, in this case, I'll have 60 divided by 4, which equals, in this case, 1. Will get us close enough to that. We'll get 20, bring this down, and that would be 15. So that means each one of the sides has to be 15 centimeters long for the answer to letter F. For letter G, you have draw 2 different figures that have perimeters that are the same length. So in this case, you have 2 different figures that have perimeters that are the same length. It could be a square, and you could even have a rectangle, let's say, for example. So let's say that this one's, let's say this square has a length of 4. This side would obviously be 4, this side would be 4, this would be 4. So that's 16. So that means the perimeter of that would be 16 units. What if this was 1 and this was 1? What does this one have to be? Go ahead and answer that right here. What would that have to be? This side would have to be 7, and so would this side. So this would be 2 different figures that have the same length and perimeters. This would be 14 plus 2 makes 16. So the perimeter of both of those would be 16 units. Letter H. In this one, select the appropriate unit for measuring the perimeter of a classroom. Would you use inches, feet, or miles? Go ahead and answer that. If you answered letter B, you are correct. Excellent work. Don't forget to do written practice for lesson 8 on Monday when we come back. This ed puzzle should be completed by Monday morning at 8:45. Thanks.